Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of Riven. We've managed to find the Moiety, or at least how they've been able to hide for so long. A secret passage behind the prison, a darkened tunnel, a hidden door, and a room with a code protecting a linking book to another age. This is where they have been hiding. The book is a discarded one that was left behind by Atris, I believe, and is only powered by one of these crystals that Catherine happened to have. Was it not for it, well, the book would not work. Again, discarded it because he didn't think it useful. And yet, we have it. And I just love this music so much. It's such a wonderful piece. Well, I've been putting it off long enough. Let's go see the Moiety. Well, we're immediately here. Tree in the middle of a lake. Not really much else to this place. Oh. That's something. It's another linking book. You can't really turn around here. It's covered in daggers. What is that? What the? Hey, hold on! Jeez. I'm so glad the darts aren't filled with painful, deadly poison. Where am I? That's where I was. We're in the tree. Oh, wow. Well, the Moiety definitely have their own little home. Gate's locked, though. Well, I guess I'm imprisoned. I mean, it makes sense. Why would they trust some random person like this? What the hell just fell? Oh. Okay, now what do we do? Here's something. Oh.
Katrina ay now da saya palo. Yapa ay manay yelepo. Miotisay. Bekaretere wira pe yelo kene falapo. Tisay. Why te fulupe?
I'm afraid I don't speak Rivenese. What is this? Okay, that's that book. This is... It's the trap book. We've got our trap book back. They were handing it back. But then what's this book? Let's read it and find out, I guess. I linked to Riven a week ago. The smell of the place overwhelmed me moments before I could see anything. With my sight only partially cleared, I stood motionless, peering ahead through a dim veil which was slowly lifting. There was a violent clang, and bars appeared. I remember breathing slowly and very deeply, tasting the familiar riven air, but not recognizing a thing. I must have been hit with the dart right away. I thought it was an insect bite at first. I'm trying to remember it all, but it's difficult. Maybe because of the drug. There was a voice. A man I did not recognize stood before me. Rivenese, though he was wearing dunny dress. He seemed to be talking to me, but the poison was already taking effect. A shadow crept in, and I fell asleep. Then there were the many voices, but I understood none of them, like hundreds of people whispering. I couldn't wake up. No matter. The dream did end. And now, to be here with Etty. It's been so many years. I didn't realize how much I missed her, like a piece of me that I had forgotten. I'd lost. She's beautiful and so full of warmth, but the years have also left her with a wound which was not there when we were children. I do wish she were more interested. It seems like I'm asking all the questions. It's awkward. No one asks me where I've been or what I've been doing. This hurts, but I understand it. Their beliefs are from out of ignorance and oppression. They are a gentle people, but they've had their nest destroyed, and now they frantically cling to anything that might serve them. But why have they chosen to cling to me? I'm confused. As a child, I always felt out of place here. I never belonged. They misunderstood me, and I couldn't relate to them. But now I'm overwhelmed by an intense feeling that I owe everything to them, and this place. I thought I would never see them again, and yet I'm here. I've been given the second chance. But a second chance at once. At what? Saving them? Fulfilling their prophecies? Being their savior? The Moiety. Atris would want me to chronicle all that I've learned. I can at least record some of it. It seems that when Atris and I trapped Gen on Riven many years ago, our efforts were witnessed by most of the inhabitants here. Two of the Rivenese even witnessed the confrontation with Gen at the fissure, where I linked back to Mist, and where Atris threw himself into the abyss. Of course, they understood little of what they were seeing, but they somehow were able to guess that we had won, that Gen was no god at all, that only a feeble impostor, a false god, and that we had trapped him here on Riven. I always hoped they would deduce this simple truth, but their further conclusions have astonished me. Atris had stripped Gen of his power, therefore Atris must be a true god. As a god, he was choosing me, the spiritual misfit from a Rivenese womb, to be his wife. And I was transcending into deity, and would lord over Riven forever. Thus the Moiety, as they call themselves, were formed, a dissident society, sworn enemies of Gen. I did not know of their beliefs regarding Atris and myself until 2 days ago. Etty was, for some reason, hesitant to tell me. I can't figure out why. I know she doesn't believe these things. Of course, everyone maybe assumed that I would be aware of my own god status, so they made no effort to inform me. I only realized it at a recent gathering to which I was invited. I sat at the front of a dimly lit and crowded cave, as they told a mystical story of my own life, acting out the battle between Atris, myself, and Gen at the edge of the fissure. The events had been exaggerated into grandiose proportions. It was offensive, but I was unable to stop it. I was unable to break the illusion, which is the very foundation of their hope and purpose, and which has given them courage to band together and rebel against Gen. Since then, I've learned of other doctrines and beliefs that have evolved, the most disturbing of which is the conviction that one day I would return to Riven to free them. Some believe that I will overthrow Gen. Others believe that I will bring them to paradise. I don't know how to deal with this. I fight it myself. I love these people, my only real kindred, they will not love me as an equal, which hurts me. I would rather be their slave than their master. Over the years, as Gen's power has become greater and greater, the Moiety's numbers have grown, and they have become more and more adept at hiding themselves. They now live in a complex network of caves that he still has not discovered. The Moiety, for the most part, have completely severed their relationship with any of the Rivenese that chose against joining them. But I hope they're not sacrificed. But I hope they've not sacrificed ritual limbs in order to remove the cancer. Even Father and Imant are still on the surface in Gen's domains, and I cling to see them, and I long to see them. But a dimness shrouds his face every time I've mentioned them. Since this break took place, they have interfered with the surface in superficial ways, occasionally sabotaging one of Gen's constructions or stealing food from the villagers. They wear strange masks and costumes during their short forays to the something surface, and take their regalia very seriously, refraining to be seen by anyone. Outside the Moiety ranks, they are properly attired. They get much pleasure out of the first of these on the surface, out of the fact that those on the surface are frightened by these costumes, calling them evil spirits or ghosts. It was during one of these expeditions that they fortuitously rescued me from one of Gen's guards when I first appeared on the island. Otherwise, I'm sure I would have been delivered to Gen immediately. I've no doubt that he's now searching for me. Of course, I am now aware that I was fooled. Atris is not here. I was at first devastated by this realization. Now I am thankful. He would be in extreme peril here. Also, there is a quiet inner voice, an echoing remnant that wants him far away. I have just witnessed an age dying, grasping its last breath. Today I returned to the surface to see what has become of this island. I hoped it would not be as bad as the Moiety had reported. It was worse. They have become slowly accustomed to its steady decay, but I was devastated. The lips from which the kiss is wrought has fallen in words will fall cold breath. The womb from which the cry released has suffocated hurt will suffer death. To get to the surface, we had to travel through a complex series of doors and passages. Before the last of these doors, they offered me a weapon, which I accepted, and then a mask. I held the mask in my hands for a while, wondering what sort of terror it might invoke in those members of my family who still live on the surface. But I also knew I must keep my identity hidden from Gen's ever-vigilant eye, so I accepted it as well. Then together we swam a short expanse and emerged out of the surface of the ocean under a rocky overhang. The harsh sunlight made my eyes sting, but the fresh, rich air was exhilarating after these last weeks in the dark caves. The two men with me were silent, communicating only with hand signals. The three of us emerged from one hiding place and made our way to the top of the plateau. At the edge of a thick and overgrown area of the forest they stopped, proceeded through the foliage for a moment, and then turned to me, as if awaiting my command. But could not respond. In fact, I found it difficult to move. I was smelling, hearing, and breathing my youth. This swept over me in a matter of seconds, but in seconds more all feeling was gone. There was numbness. We did not stay long on the surface, but it was long enough to see the worst. Riven, which was once one island, has split apart into 5 distinct pieces, about a half a mile apart. 4 of these have been claimed by Gen as his exclusive domain. Only his ministers and personal militia are ever allowed access to them. From my vantage point at the edge of the forest, I could see 3 of these islands. They are stripped of their former beauty and are riddled with Gen's self-absorbed constructions. The Moiety rarely visit these closely guarded places. There is another island which I could not see, as it had evidently crept away to a terrific distance. The Moiety are very unclear as to what exists on this island, except for the fact that they know it is where the great tree used to exist. The forest is located on the island, that the surface dwellers in the Moiety still refer to as Riven, that they also still refer to their entire world as Riven. This island is where the village is, which has changed dramatically. It is also the one remaining province of the people, though Gen's influence can be seen everywhere. Of course, I know the reason for the fracturing of the island. The Moiety do not. Gen wrote this place, and it will die, as all of Gen's ages eventually die. I feel nothing today. I am nothing. I live in a cave on a dying world inhabited by people that... They're treating me so strangely. They don't know how to relate to a god. I'm still an outcast here. They whisper amongst themselves, talking of my bravery during my excursion to the surface, how I walked across the island, bold and unafraid. They don't know me. Even Etty is uncomfortable around me. At times there is no awkwardness, and I am only Katrin to her, but at other times I'm something else. I'm afraid. There's such a great numbness inside me. Today I do not feel closeness with my people. Neither am I offended by their worship of me. I do not hate Gen. I don't feel anything. Not even sure if... At least Nella is still close. I'm boiling. Gen is making and writing books. I wish they'd told me sooner. Atris should have realized this would happen. Of course Gen would have written all of the materials necessary to the dunny craft of making books into this age, and probably every other age he ever wrote. He's attempting to write his way out of here. We did not imprison him, we only delayed him. This age has become his factory, and the people are his machines, all laboring in his mad pursuit to become a god, to carry on his mad dunny cause. For so far he has not been able to produce a fully functional book. Atris has never believed his destiny, but I don't Atris has never believed in destiny, but I don't know what else to call it. It's too perfect. It's too much of a coincidence. They hang on to my every word, though they do not understand them. I am their hope, and now I have returned. I owe this to them. There is no choice. It's been a long time since my last entry. It is hard to recognize, but I have found the Starfisher. It is located on the island which the Rivenese call Alapo, meaning water pool, but which is referred to by the Moiety as Alatwan, meaning pool of stars. Having once allowed Atris to escape this age without leaving an open star door behind us, it has since been sealed with a skin of heavy iron. A crude telescope has been mounted over a locked viewport, the combination to which was acquired by the Moiety before my arrival. In the early days, the Moiety, seeking an escape from Riven, briefly pursued the idea of reopening the fissure. They discovered a small mechanical stop to prevent the scope from hitting the portal window. Ultimately, however, they decided against opening it. I hate to think what would have happened to them if they had not left it alone. I've instructed them to stay away from it. I'm almost certain that, with the decayed state of the islands, opening the fissure now would be disastrous. I have heard that in the days immediately following Gen's confinement on Riven, he'd attempted to determine the feasibility of navigating the stars beneath the fissure, for he had seen the mist book fall from Atris's hands into the very same place. To this end, he would have people affected transgressions of the law thrown into it so that he could observe their fate. The telescope which still stands there is one he had built for these callous experiments. It is said that they did not die, that what became of them remains a mystery. It appears that the limits of Gen's optics prevented him from learning their fate. The star field beneath the fissure is not at all as it seems. It is a gentle space, as hospitable to life as a flowing river. This is how Atris explained it, after he had fallen into it. But much more than that we've never understood, and we were never able to conclude upon its origins. But the visions tell me that it was from out of the well of the Maker, perhaps for some greater purpose that we cannot yet understand. I still remember Atris's words from his journal. I realized the moment I fell into the fissure that the book would not be destroyed as I had planned. It continued falling into that starry expanse. There must be some greater reason behind it. I neglected to mention it earlier. The unique shape of one of the great daggers which appeared during our escape from Riven. The very dagger that stands vertically at one end of that has been adapted by the Moiety as a symbol of their cause. It is a sacred symbol for them. It is the representation of all of their doctrine, and their representation to me. To deface this symbol is sacrilege. They have their own mythical explanation regarding its sudden origins. I haven't told them that I wrote it into this age, along with all the other daggers. It's strange that such a young religion can be so unbending, even to their own god. I have tried to dissuade them of the notion that symbols contain so much power. The enemy uses this paramount against them. They are fearful of Gen's symbol, and are terrorized by his symbolic use of the work. But they don't want to hear this from me. Perhaps my attempts have even caused some of the younger members of the Moiety to doubt that I am Catherine. My mere encounters with those who say they'd follow Gen have been discouraging. I have helped to have some communication with the surface villagers, but they always flee from me. But I have heard news of some of the villagers' beliefs regarding Gen. Soon after we trapped Gen on Riven, he claimed that he was responsible for the daggers, placing them around the island as a reminder of their failure. In the village circles, it is told that this was a primitive act performed by Gen to mark the beginning of a period of restitution, at the end of which, if they have proven their devotion to him, they will be delivered out of a new and better existence, unto a new and better existence. I will continue to try to reach them. The door is open, and Gen is free. Gen has the ability to create working books. In fact, he had written one age before I arrived. That is depart this accomplishment so well hidden that only his closest ministers were aware until now. I'm not sure. Perhaps he has written other news. A few years ago, before the Moiety were forced into hiding, one of them managed to steal what appeared to be a test book that Gen had intended to destroy. It had been partially written, but did not work. They didn't tell me about it until now because they thought it was useless. Back then, none of Gen's books worked, but instead of correcting the problem at its source, he blamed it on the impure wood of the Riven forest and proceeded to engineer a cumbersome mechanical remedy, a complex series of domes, to heal his book's inherent flaws. One of the consequences of this crude solution, however, was that the domes demanded huge amounts of energy, and the related problems delayed his success for quite some time. At last, however, he finished his work and was finally able to link to an age, but he kept his success extremely well hidden. However, for some reason or another, belligerent pride, he has made modifications to the domes which make it atrocious that he's using the domes to breathe life into his half-dead books. Perhaps he means to lure us into using the books in the domes. He can't believe that we would humbly swallow this suicidal something. But he wouldn't know that we have one of his books, the stolen burnt book. There is a possibility of have read burnt book. Age it describes would be unsuitable as new home for the Moiety. Must be modified. I will dream. Have requested a group to solve combination. That will open the domes. Once open, we can power the burnt book. I do not think Gen will interfere. He he will leave the bait. Have again writing the Moiety's age. Begun writing the Moiety's age. Now must acquire second book from Gen. There is tension. A strain blurs my vision, and nightmares. Neela and Etim stay close. Much has happened. Almost everything is prepared. We have stolen another book, but I'm concerned. Gen will miss it. We have also discovered the combinations for entering the domes, but we have not discovered the method for powering them. By powering one burnt book with Gen's domes, we will be able to link to this age, but we will only have access to the domes for a short amount of time before we are discovered. Therefore, we can only use the domes once. I must find another way to make the books work. The gateway images in Gen's books and our burnt book all seem to share the same sickness. If they are not powered, the images are black. It might be possible to clear the vision with only wall units substance into the Moiety age. All is ready. Now all we can do is wait for word from the something, who are on the lookout for Gen to power and use the domes. When he does that, we will have access to one of Gen's domes just long enough. After linking to the age which I've written, I only have to locate the book window substantial and refine or adapt it. Laying this window over the gateway image should heal the books and make them work. This will allow me to use the second stolen book and return to Riven with more of the book windows. We will then no longer have to rely on Gen's clumsy domes. I laugh these plans. I sound like Atris. I'm risking my life, but I feel no fear, only anxiety. Perhaps it is the source of my nightmares. The fissure, like a great wound, is opened. It strains the riven soil with blood. I hold the Moiety knife. The voices grow so loud. For their part, the Moiety have complete faith that I will accomplish my task and lead them to a better world. It is a fulfillment of their prophecy, but they are also fearful and tense. I don't know what they will think or do if I fail. It is done! It seems too good to be true. I feel like it's all still a dream. We have already evacuated all the Moiety to this new age. It is beautiful, and I am pleased. At last my people will live in safety and comfort. They stand under the bare sky, unafraid and dazzled by their freedom. They are happy. They have named it Tay. There is still much to be done. We are not protected yet. The only way to completely safeguard this place is to destroy the book which links to here from Riven. But I do not even know how to bring this up to the Moiety. They will be extremely reluctant about destroying their only link to Riven. I share this hesitation. I would be cutting off my only connection, but for their sake it must be done. I am anxious to know if our activities have aroused Gen's suspicions. If so, we must act quickly. Even so, I feel that now we are impressionable. Tomorrow I will return to Riven to see Gen's reaction for myself. But tonight, I finally rest. There's one more note to look at. I write quickly from my prison. Nella will return your book which the Moiety intercepted upon your arrival. After questioning her, I've concluded that it was written by Atris for a very specific purpose. Gen will desire to use it, although he may have suspicions. If you can find my prison, you will still need the combination to release me. Gen keeps it in his office. Then, I assume, we're to signal Atris. I think I know how it might be done, but don't signal him before I am released. Catherine. So that was Catherine's journal, and that was a long one. It had a lot of information there. So, the most important things we got was the code in order to open up the hatch over the star fissure, over where the telescope is, back where we started. But there's so much more in there. Atris was once believed a god, but Gen was once believed a god, but when Atris and Catherine defied him and trapped him here, they realized he was not a god. But then the Moiety decided to start believing Atris was a god, and Catherine, who he chose as his bride, had been ascended into deity status. Poor Catherine. She was an outcast and now is again, but in the exact opposite direction. All among her people. Only Nella and Etty are the ones who treated her anything like this. Nella must be the one who brought the book here just now. We still know what we need to do. Now that we have everything, we need to power the fire marble domes and get to Gen. Get him to use the book. Rescue Catherine and get out of here. We've accomplished one of our tasks. But how do we get out of here? I can't do anything. I hear Nella.
Sira po. Ibuko mo buko wisipo. Na vene. Tapo mo revene beno. Now, Katerina ne. Wisifa polo ya sepe yai.
I still do not understand what she said. But I believe... Yes, this is our way back into Riven. So that was what we did when we came here. We got the book back, got a whole lot of information, and now we can go back. Our next goals are very clear. We are to power up the islands. We are to power up the fire marble domes and find Gen. Then, once that's done, we are to trap him in the book, find Catherine, and get free. We still have tasks ahead of us, but I can say we're on our way towards completion. We will get out of this. And I think we'll start it in the next episode. Before I do, and on our way, I will discuss more about what we learned in Catherine's book. Till then, I am Chester44, this has been a Let's Play of Riven, and I shall see you all next time.